Good morning, brothers and sisters. How is everyone this Sunday? Good. Please have a seat. You know, in honor of the holidays that are fastly approaching, we have a special surprise for you this morning. It's truly my honor to welcome my younger brother, Kook Jin Moon, to the stage shortly. As you are well aware, he is the chairman of the Korean Foundation. And ever since he came to that position several years ago, he has single-handedly turned the financial organization around, and so that we can truly be the pride of Korea and of our worldwide movements. So the great thing about being a member of the True Family is that I have 14 brothers and sisters here and in spirit world working together for the sake of world peace and for the sake of sharing the breaking news with the world about the preciousness and the glory of our true parents. So this brother that will join us shortly has been somebody who has been tirelessly fighting to bring honor and to bring justice and to bring efficiency to an organization that was well in need of repair and restructuring. So for somebody who has given his heart and soul for the sake of the movement and for the sake of our true parents and for the sake of the future of our movement, should we not give him an American welcome this morning? So I want you all to rise and help me welcome my younger brother, Kook Jin Moon. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Well, thank you for such a warm welcoming. I really appreciate it. Didn't expect it. My sister has been doing such a fantastic job here with the Loving Life Ministry. Actually, I'm kind of surprised by your generous and warm welcome. After reading all that stuff about me on the internet, I was expecting tomatoes and eggs. Actually, you know, I've asked people, hey, why am I not getting sued for paternity? Where are these illegitimate children people are writing about and talking about? I would like to know. Sue me. I'm rich. You can get a lot of money. It's very comedic and very funny because it's pretty atrocious what's been written. You know, in the U.S. we have a thing called freedom of speech, so it's very difficult to prosecute people for libel. But in Korea, it's not like that. You have actually criminal defamation laws in Korea, and you can put people in jail for it. So, with all these unfortunate and pretty despicable propaganda which was being distributed not only in the U.S. but in Korea and Japan and throughout the world, we couldn't let that situation stand. So we actually did file a criminal lawsuit against postings on the internet. There were of course these postings were anonymous because all the rumors are posted anonymously. There's no name attached. But that's one of the benefits of filing a criminal defamation suit. Then you hand it over to the government officials and the prosecutors, and they have state and police powers. And they can investigate and find the true names of the people putting these postings up on the internet. And so we did refer it to the prosecutor, and we did file a criminal suit, and they did come back and tell us who's doing it. And we have their names: Kim Kyung-ho, Lee Sung-kyung. What's the third guy's name? Im Chae-in? Im Ji-hin. Who are these people? These people work for chairman of UCI and for Reverend Kwok. You want to know where all these rumors are coming from? That's where they're coming from. So these individuals are wanted for questioning in Korea. I would suggest that they go to Korea and answer the questions which the government officials and the police have for them. But from what I understand, they are not going to Korea. They've told the government that they're not in Korea and they don't have any intention to go to Korea. If they didn't do anything wrong, why don't they go in and talk to the police? My suggestion to you, I know Americans, we are rational people here, educated people. We have a system of rule of law. You know, there's a good reason why courts and the judicial system does not allow hearsay. Because that's exactly what hearsay is. It's hearsay. Why are we as individuals and as members of this congregation and this community so eager to believe hearsay? I understand the writer of this fiction is a very good novelist and writes interesting stories, but that's all it is, it's fiction. Brothers and sisters, we are still a young community. Our two parents have started this church, 50, 60 odd years ago, not too long. So we haven't had a great deal of time to develop our traditions like longer living churches, like the Catholic Church has had. And so we have some growing pains to deal with. And organizationally throughout the world, we've had many difficult situations in our church organization. Do you know that the Korean Foundation and actually the Korean Church actually in 1997 went bankrupt? Do you know about that? When it went bankrupt, it had billions of dollars of liabilities. Do you know who the chairman was when the foundation went bankrupt? Do you know who led the foundation into bankruptcy? It was Reverend Kwok. From 1992 to the time the foundation went bankrupt, it was under the leadership of Reverend Kwok. You don't know about this? I guess he doesn't tell you very much about the real stuff which he's been doing. When did I get the job as a chairman of the foundation? I got the job in 2005. When I was put in charge of the Korean Foundation, there was, among the organizations which I was put responsible for, there was quite a bit of losses, both reported losses and underreported losses, because there were many problems with the accounting systems in the Korean Foundation and the Korean business group, the business group which the church owns. And so if you just look at some of those losses, reported losses were nearly $50 million. But then if you look at a company like 세계일보 in 2004, they actually reported that they made no losses, the newspaper. But that's because they recorded nearly $30 million of donations from our brothers and sisters in Japan to subsidize the newspaper as income. So if you look at accounting irregularities such as that, the real substantial losses were in excess of $100 million. Again, Reverend Kwok had led our business group and our church into bankruptcy once, and we were headed in that direction again, because he was the chairman when when I first started there in Korea in 2005. Now, personally, before I started my public mission, because before 2005, I wasn't working in a public mission. I had no problems with the guy. I got along well with him, and I've been closer to my brother, who's the current chairman of UCI, longer than anybody. I love my brother. Right now, the problem I have with him is I hate what he's doing. And for years, I told him, right? What you're doing is not right. Don't do it. Because he doesn't like the advice I give him, he doesn't talk to me. We've offered our hand to him and said, come talk to us, my brother. Let's talk about the issues. Flat out refused. I'm extending my invitation to him today. If you want to come talk to me, come talk to me. Anytime. Let's talk. I'm not going to agree with something which I don't feel is right. If it's a spade, I'll call it a spade. And I understand that in this world, being straightforward like that, calling it the way you see it is not the popular thing to do. But then again, I have my 5 rules of management, which I've been running my businesses and the organizations which I've been made responsible with. And my second rule is to choose accountability over popularity. So pursuing popularity has never been one of my agendas. And so we did lots of difficult reforms in Korea. We restructured all the businesses in Korea, 2005. We had nearly 34 businesses in Korea when I started. About 70% of them were losing money. Today, we're down to about 12. And basically, they all have become profitable or have improved substantially. And that's the fact. Case in point, look at the newspaper, 세계일보. You all know, we have a newspaper here in America, right? Washington Times. Well, we got it back from UCI. Father had to buy it back, so. You heard about that, right? And you know that the Washington Times loses a lot of money every year, 30 million, in that range every year, right? And it has for 20 years. What about Korea with the 세계일보? It's been the same thing. Last 20 years, it's been losing about 30 million a year, every year. How much is it losing today? No, we're down to about 3 million in losses from 30. Our paid subscription is about the same. Our revenues did not decline during the restructuring. The newspaper has a brand new building. Tom, you were in Korea, you saw it, right? Beautiful, right? We're printing newspapers every day. Look at companies like Yongkyung. We bought that from Sangyong Group, and consistently, they were losing about $10 to $20 million operating loss every year for 40 years. When we got it, it was losing money also. Now, operationally, it's profitable. But it's not just one or two businesses. It's every business has improved substantially. And there was a lot of hard work to get those organizations to work properly. And we had to do lots of corporate restructuring, and we did, all of which are not popular things to do. But the result is that now our business group is successful. And it has a good foundation to build more success for the future. That's a fact. And since that's a fact, and that's verifiable, that can be accounted for, the media has come in and taken a look at what we've done with the Tongil Group, and they verified it, yeah. It was pretty bad before, now it runs okay. Now it has hope. That's why we've been getting so much positive press coverage, because the results are there. You can go visit our website, tongilgroup.org. Go on our website. You can go on there. We have dozens of articles listed. We translated it into English. You can read them. You know, 5 years ago, 2005, the Unification Church in Korea was not that well regarded. It's not popular. Actually, we were maligned by the press pretty consistently. Now the press is quite positive towards us. Why? If we're making this stuff up, why is the press so positive towards us? What? I'm going to fool all the newspapers in Korea? They weren't fooled before. Man, I must be some kind of magic man. This is what I'm talking about. Come on, guys. Let's be real here. So we've got the businesses, they weren't running well. Now they're running well. We got the press coverage in Korea is very bad. Now the press coverage is good. But that's not the only thing we worked on. You know, when I was in Korea, as a chairman of the Tongil Foundation, my job is to, of course, run the businesses and manage the church assets. But the other part of my job is to hand out all the money to everybody. And there's a long line of people in front of my office asking for money every day. It goes from the people in the business to the church-related institutions, the NGO organizations. And, you know, even our church in Korea was unprofitable for a very long time. For the last 20 years, it's been unprofitable. So that's kind of the other job of the foundation chairman, is to distribute the money. And so that's another dilemma which we face. I mean, on the one hand, we're working really hard to make money, and on the other hand, we have to give it away to these organizations, and I'm thinking to myself, wait a minute, we're working really hard to make this money. Now I'm giving it to them. I don't know exactly what they're doing with the money. And I had a hard time understanding why is it that a church needs to be subsidized? Why can't the church make money, considering that every other church in the world does? So that's the problem we had to work on, to try to understand that problem. And so, you know, I spent a year. I visited 120 churches in Korea, myself, personally. I went out to almost nearly a quarter of all the churches in Korea and talked to the members, saw the facilities, talked to the ministers, heard their stories, saw the situation with my own eyes. Based on that research, together with our professional team, we set up and we built a restructuring strategy and a restructuring plan to make the Korean church prosperous again, both in terms of donation growth, tithing growth, in terms of church growth and building facilities maintenance. We developed a comprehensive strategy and plan. Church restructuring strategy. And with the cooperation of our world chairman, my younger brother, we implemented the plan together. It was not easy work to do, but it was successful. We actually reduced the number of church buildings by nearly half. But overall membership attendance grew nearly 70%. This is Sunday service attendance. Registered memberships are up by nearly that much. But more important than that, tithings, up 120% since the reform started. And now the church continues to grow. Every year we are seeing tithing and membership growth. It's been successful. And by restructuring and reducing the number of church buildings, we're able to take that money and renovate the ones that we kept. So the whole environment for the Korean church is being renovated and changed. Going from being like a slum or ghetto church to a very bright, modern, newly renovated church. So, what's wrong with that? How's that wrong? Did I do something bad here? Okay, let's just figure this out. The businesses are all profitable. The media, which used to hate us, they like us now. The church, which wasn't growing and was always asking for money, is now profitable. All right. Sounds like I'm really destroying the Korean church, doesn't it? It's kind of funny, right? You gotta laugh about this kind of stuff. Because it is funny. I mean, the propaganda which is being produced by certain actors and the reality is so divergent that it's despicable. There's no other word for it. Despicable. The truth is, our church is on a good path. We continue on this path, we will fulfill the mission and the promise which God has given to our church. Why would we want to not realize the promise that God has given us? For what? Because there's a party, a faction in our church which is so rabid in their promotion of themselves and in their view of the universe and in their lies? Yes, they are a bunch of liars. You want to give up our victory for true parents, victory for God, for lies? Does this make sense? Is that rational? That's what I'm asking you guys. Let's be reasonable here. Let's open our eyes. Let's see the truth. You know, back in about 2 years ago now, I did a lot of work to renovate and restore organizations in Korea. And, I have, based on that, quite a bit of success under my belt. And why would I need any more qualifications? I've got a lot of results. I don't think there's anybody in this church who has as many results as I do. Name one person. Well, other than true parents, but... What else do I have to prove? 2 years ago, Father told me to go to Japan. Go fix the problem there. Basically, cops were raiding our church every week. Nearly 130 members been arrested. Father tells me to go there and fix the problem. Can you say suicide mission? Seriously. What person in their right mind will go put themselves in that much risk? What is there to prove? What do I have to prove? I've been successful my entire life. I went to the best school in this country. Graduated magna cum laude. Have 7 patents. Built a successful business. Have millions of dollars. What do I have to prove? I led the successful restructuring and renovation of our church in Korea. Father gave me a suicide mission to go to Japan and stand in front while the police are arresting everybody. I guess I would be arrested too. I went. When the police were knocking on our door, I was there. And I was fighting for our Japanese church. And I was fighting for the church members in Japan. When everybody else thought that we were finished, everybody else was turning our backs on us, when leaders thought Father was finished and they were turning their backs on Father, I was there defending the church in Japan. I was there defending true parents. I didn't see Reverend Kwok in Japan. I didn't see my brother, the chairman of UCI, in Japan. Where the hell was the Washington Times? Why didn't they help us out? I asked them for help. I said, we have a serious problem in Japan of persecution. Our brothers and sisters are being kidnapped and tortured. Help us. Write stories about this. Get the American public attention together. Did you see the Washington Times write one story about this issue during this entire period? None. Nothing. No help at all. How the hell can you call yourself a leader of this church if you can't even stand up and fight for the members? I'm there in the front line, and I'm fighting for our brothers and sisters, putting my life at risk, putting my freedom at risk. Where the hell were they? I didn't see them there. I didn't get any help from them. Where the hell were they? That's what I'm talking about. From what I understand, they were very busy writing novels and defaming me while I'm out there trying to defend you. Spending millions of church dollars to defame me, to defame Father, to defame my brothers and sisters. While I'm out there in front, putting my life at risk to defend you. Is that fair? Does that sit well with you? I know. I've grown up in this country. I've lived here since I was 3 years old. I know the American people. People here in America, they're just. They're rational. They're righteous people. And I know you've been deceived. But if you see the facts in front of you, I know all of you will make the proper judgments. Just look at the facts. Look at who's fighting for you and who's not. Who's just talking a talk and producing lies. And who's actually making results. If you see the truth and see the reality, there is no confusion, brothers and sisters. Every day I've done my job here for the church, I've spent every day to make a result. There isn't a day which I have worked in this public service where I haven't thought about what result I can make. And one thing which I can say is that I've worked my hardest these last 6 years now to make a result for all of you every day. And I think my results show it. We've done it. But there's still a lot of work to do. Because we have come together as a community worldwide and fought the Japanese government, because we have fought for the freedom of our brothers and sisters, fought against the human rights violation, against their kidnapping, we are winning in Japan now. But the fight is not yet over. There is still a lot of work to do, and we need your help and cooperation to continue that fight. And at this critical time, where our true parents are really setting the stage for the future of our movement, it is a time for our community, for all of us, to come together, centered upon true parents, our parents, because they are the reasons why we are here in the first place. They are the root of our church. And it is through them that we receive God's revelation and God's blessing. You've come this far, brothers and sisters, with true parents. It seems obvious to me that you should go to the end with them. It is time for our movement to start to mature. We need to see things as they are, not as some teenagers imagine them to be. Because we, as a church and as a congregation, have something uniquely valuable to offer to all the world. We have insights about the nature of God, which no religion on earth offers. And do you know that one of the fundamental teachings of Christianity is that God's divinity is a mystery, the mystery of God. God Almighty, infinite, omniscient, omnipotent, so vast that he is unknowable to us little human beings. You understand that this is one of the fundamental teachings of Christianity. But have you thought about what that means? Thank you. What does it mean if God is a mystery? What does it mean if God is unknowable? If God is a mystery and unknowable, what does God teach us? What does Christ teach us? You know, you've heard of the Trinity, right? God the Father, the Son, the Holy Spirit. 3 is 1 and 1 is 3. And, we're taught that we should, as Christians are taught that you should learn to try to be like Christ. But how can you be like Christ if you can't know Christ? How can you love Christ if you can't know him? How can you emulate him if he's unknowable to you? How do you solve this theological conundrum of Christianity? You realize that this is a very difficult and problematic theological problem for Christians. And as a result, when many Christians who are deep in their faith go to theology school and study theology, they become atheists, primarily because of these kind of theological inconsistencies which just don't make sense. But it would seem to me that one of the things which the returning Christ should do is to clarify these mysteries, to solve these mysteries. And really, this is the power of the principle. This is the power of the message which our true parents has given to us. They solve this fundamental problem in Christianity. True parents have taught us clearly the essence of God's divinity. They have defined the divine essence of God. What is it? Yeah, they've defined God's essence as true love. And they've defined true love. What is true love? True love is a love that can even bring your worst enemy, even Satan, to voluntary surrender and submit. What does God will of man? What does God will of us? Simple. God wants you to inherit his true love. Each and every single one of you. All the questions of God and the universe answered. Done. That's simple. This is the power of the principle. It is the key to all the theological inconsistencies which exist in Christianity. It is the key through which Christians can find God and Jesus. And it is the key through which you can enter the kingdom of heaven. And who brought us the key? Who is the gatekeeper? It is true parents, true father and true mother. The truth is before us, brothers and sisters. God is with us. If we have faith in God and true parents, there is no obstacle that we cannot overcome. So that is my suggestion to all of you. Let us do the right thing. Let us stand up for truth and for principle and show our loyalty to God and true parents. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kook Jin Moon. We'd like to invite Kook Jin Moon's wife, Ji Hae-nim, to the stage. We're truly honored and blessed to have Kook Jin Moon with us for that honest and frank description of God's providence. This is his lovely wife, Ji Hae-nim. Here to present a token of our gratitude is Montoku and Ina Kono. Thank you so much, Kook Jin Moon.